This is Tom from Dirk Witte Music Store in Utrecht, the Netherlands, and today we are taking a look at this very killer 1970s Fender Telecaster in a very cool and a very rockin' player's condition. This is a 1973 Fender Telecaster Custom in a stripped natural finish. So this body at some point was a different color slash finish, but it has been stripped, as we can tell. So you have now this, have this very cool looking and very raw looking natural finish of the natural wood. There is a thin layer of finish, like a clear coat on there, but that too has been, pretty worn out. As we can tell, this is definitely not a mint guitar by any means, so it has players wear all over, just resulting in just a really fantastic player that is then also, because of that condition, rather affordable as compared to like a very clean one, for example. So from 1973, the Fender Telecaster Custom. Not to be confused with the Custom Telecaster, because that was a model that was first introduced in, I believe, the late 1950s. That was pretty much just a Fender Telecaster, but then with a bound body. So you then just have binding on the front as well as on the back of the body. But in 1972, they released the Telecaster Custom. Kind of like in response to how quite a number of players modified their Fender Telecasters by routing the neck cavity out for a humbucker. So you would see quite some players playing a Fender Telecaster with a humbucker in the neck position, which obviously was not stock, because Fender did not make humbuckers in those days. But for this model, they then also designed their own humbucker in collaboration with Seth Lover. So you now have this very cool, wide range humbucker is what they call it. And you would then see that in this model as well as in the Telecaster, let's see, that was the Telecaster thin line. There's also, I think that was the thin line with like the dual wide range humbuckers. But this one then gets kind of like best of both worlds, so a humbucker in the neck and then a regular bridge pickup that you find on a Fender Telecaster there in the bridge position. So resulting in just a really cool guitar with some very unique tones and also a very cool look. What's also obviously a big difference is that you've got dual volume and dual tone controls. Kind of Gibson layout also with the switch, but still its own unique thing. So a really cool guitar, again a very cool player. Let's dive into the specs. So we've got an ash body. This one is particularly light, so that is very nice. This one actually comes in at, let's see, only 3.2 kilos, which is really nice for, especially for like a Fender guitar from the 1970s, because those are known to be quite hefty. But this one is not one of those, so that is very nice. So very nice to then also play on stage. And again, the body has been totally stripped to its natural ash wooden, look. You can then also see kind of like the seam lines, and you can then see how many pieces this body is made out of. Looks to be, let's see, maybe 4 or 5 pieces. Kind of difficult to tell. It's almost like that this is a really big chunk, but then you got like 3 quite thin pieces over there. Also like this one over here in the middle does look to be like a separate part. So I'm guessing that this is at least 4 pieces, but maybe this big chunk is then also more than one. Kind of difficult to tell because those grain lines are pretty straight. But either way, looks really killer. Again, that natural raw look. Moving on to the pickguard, that is obviously also a very unique look to this model. So very large pickguard that kind of like fits everything together, including the switch over here at the top, then all the way to the control panel over here. That is then black, like a multiply black material, so black, white, black. 3-way pickup selector switch for your 2 pickups. We've then again got the wide range humbucker over there in the neck position. which is, yeah, that is definitely original. Like the Fender logo is embossed there, but it's very faint. Like it has been played or maybe even sanded to a point that you can barely see the Fender logo there embossed. But maybe you can see that there in the light, I'm not quite sure. But I can definitely confirm that it is still there. So this is then indeed the original Fender wide range humbucker, which really has kind of like its own sound. It's not like a PAF, it's not like a Gibson humbucker. It's quite dark sounding, very warm, very round sounding, which in and of itself is actually, yeah, even though it doesn't really look like it, but it would probably do jazz even like really well. But then also combined, it really gives you like this unique tone that you really do not get from any other model. Moving on to the bridge, that then also features the original bridge Telecaster pickup, which by the way has been rewound, so that's nice that has been done so that it can actually be played, and which is also not quite surprising because this is over 50 years old, so it is very much expected that it does need some maintenance of that type of sort. Then got the original bridge plate with your Fender patent number there, also embossed, as well as your steel saddles right there. By the way, this being from the 1970s, got your 3-bolt neck plate right there, neck plate construction. And then the controls, like I said, dual volume, dual tone controls. Kind of like these, with these large style, kind of like amplifier style knobs. I think that these are actually the exact same that you find on amps like this one right here. And then your output jack over here on the side. The strap buttons have also been replaced for the Shure strap locks. So if you are a big fan of that, then you have that as well. Moving on to neck, that is a maple neck with a rosewood fingerboard. It's quite slim feeling. This being from the early 1970s, that is, yeah, those necks do tend to be on the slim side. It's also, I feel like also just a little bit more narrow than you would feel in like the 1960s or in the 1950s as well, which just results in actually a very quite a fast playing neck. The profile is really nicely rounded, definitely just a C shape, like nothing too special, but overall just a very nice neck, but definitely kind of like on the slim side. You also then got your skunk stripe over there on the back. And then again, like I said, rosewood fingerboard with a vintage 7¼ inch radius. The frets are also definitely not new. They do show some wear. They are a little bit low, but you can still play it fine as is. But I do expect this guitar, if you plan to play it extensively, to probably need a refret not too far off in the future. And then you've got your dot pearl-load inlays. The nut has also been replaced. That is a brass nut, very much 1970s in style. So yeah, also looks quite cool if you ask me. And this also features the bullet truss rod adjustment right there on the face of the headstock, as opposed to the truss rod having to be adjusted here on the end of the neck and then having to pop off the neck. Quite a hassle. This is a lot easier, and it is then obviously also a telltale sign that this is indeed a Fender from the 1970s. Then got also your dual string trees, also something that they started doing in the 1970s instead of the single string tree. And your decal reading Fender Telecaster Custom with your serial number right there. And then on the back we've got your original Fender embossed tuners. Last thing to mention, also comes with a very sweet tweed case. Definitely not original, because back in these days they would not come with the tweed cases. They would come with like these black Tolex cases, I believe, or like faux leather stuff cases. But it is obviously very nice to have a case included. This does seem to be quite a nice and a high quality hard shell tweed case, so that is very nice to then have that included. So very cool guitar. Again, by no means mint. This is very much a rock and roll machine. This has definitely been somebody's gigging machine, and it definitely shows. but it just plays and sounds really killer. The bridge pickup is quite hot, quite spiky, so yeah, really great for like, obviously I'm going to play some Rolling Stones. But then, yeah, this model is again also then quite unique with that wide range humbucker. You can really get some unique tones out of this model that you would not get from a normal Fender Telecaster, so that is only the more cool. And yeah, just really cool to have a real 1970s one like this. And this being in this type of a condition also makes it very much accessible, like not that expensive at all compared to like cleaner ones. So this is really kind of like your chance to own a real deal old vintage Fender Telecaster Custom. So yeah, incredibly cool guitar. Let's hear what it sounds like. But first, if you're interested in this 1973 Fender Telecaster Custom in this bare, stripped, raw, natural finish, be sure to head over to the links in the description for further details. If you enjoyed this demo, be sure to like the video and to subscribe to the channel for more cool weekly demos of very cool, rare vintage guitars like these, or cool regular, used or new electric guitars, acoustic guitars, bass guitars even, all of that really cool stuff. Also be sure to like us and follow us on the socials, Instagram and Facebook. Links are also in the description. With all that being said, let's hear what this incredibly cool 1973 Fender Telecaster Custom sounds like. Going to be playing it through this late 1970s Fender Pro Reverb. So let's then move on to that part and let's then take this killer rock and roll machine for a spin.